want to go back to something that you mentioned with your grandparents because I have a very strong relationship with my grandparents too. So, what impact did your grandparents have on your life?
Well, it would have to be my grandparents and my great grandmother, Laura May. They instilled inside of me a deep love for who I am at that young age. Um, my great grandmother was the chief bottle washer and cook and clean around the house. And so she was always there wearing an apron. I wear an apron around my house a lot today. I claim I'm doing it because I have a little dog. She's 17 pounds and she's constantly coming to me. She puts her paws up on me. I pick her up. I have her on my lap. I give her kissy kissy, on and on. Well, she's dirty. Half the time when she jumps up on me, I say, "Oh my God." So I started wearing the apron and then she could jump all over me. And that was one thing. But that was one influence of my great grandmother. I know it. When I wear it, I think she did it. She got over it. Now, they also influenced me to share. We had I did a lot of cousins because my great grandmother had, 5 or 6 daughters and sons. They were all trying to live under the roof or somewhere nearby. And so my cousins were literally raised like they were brothers and sisters. And so I had this deep and abiding love for the thought of my great grandmother, how much she gave to us. She was very physical. She hugged and kissed us. And my grandfather was my babysitter because they said he had rheumatiz, which is arthritis. And they said that he was soft, his mind was soft. And they were saying he had Alzheimer's. I don't think he had any of that, but I was not able to judge as a child. So he wanted to go. So I said, "Hey, Granddaddy, can I go with you?" And so he became my chief babysitter. I have such a deep love for what this man did to me and gave to me. Unconditional love in such a way because he took me down by the creek. He took up certain plants and flowers and told me stories about them. And so I spent an incredible amount of time with just the two of us. My sisters were younger and I had an older brother who went off in his direction, but I was the one who found this relationship with my grandfather. Well, when he started singing to me, or the Magic Cane started singing to me, I mean, I was in heaven. I didn't know I had this voice, but I started singing with the Magic Cane. And then, of course, when he died, and I really started singing, I was singing the grief, the pain that I felt at his loss. And so when you say, what did they give to me? They gave me a love of music, a love of the imagination. You can tell stories, you make things up. There was a sense of warmth and love going back and forth. I got off to a good start, but it was interrupted later on because my parents were physically fighting and it put me into a nightmare scenario. And I was clinically depressed, I say, as a little boy when I moved to Youngstown because we left my biological father behind. That was very, very tragic. And in those days, they didn't bother to explain things to children. They packed and did whatever they had to do. They said, "Come on here, get in the taxi, we're going to the train station." I didn't even know what a train really was. I knew choo-choo and stuff like that, but I'd never been on one. So there I was with this big black engine spouting this white steam. And I'm trying to hold on to my mother, and there were lots and lots of people around, and there was jostling and trying to get onto the train. It was a nightmare. So I arrived in Youngstown, Ohio, like I was in a state of deep, deep consciousness of being, I was sick, but they didn't understand that this child had been traumatized by the experience with my real father. No one ever explained that whole episode with me. I saw my mother crying. I saw my mother and father fighting. I can't tell you how profoundly negative that is. And then to wake up in the morning and this disturbance, I'll call it that, was going on. That too was a nightmare. And all these strange people and the police with their cars blaring, and the lights going, arrived at my house, and I didn't know why or from where. and I was scooped up and taken to my great grandmother's house. Where's Daddy? What happened? I was one of those kids, and they never ever explained it to me until years later when I began to say, what happened? Tell me what it was like. And several of my aunts, who were wonderful, wonderful ladies, they were like surrogate mothers or second mothers, because when we moved to Ohio, my mother had to go out to work. She worked as a housemaid, cleaning people's homes, cleaning the toilets, cooking for them, taking care of their children when she was neglecting her own children. That was something which it took some time for me to take it out and look at it, stroke it and love it, and realize that was a part of who I am, and let the pain go of missing my mother. I was a latch door boy. And I knew she was taking care of other children because sometimes she told us. And then the great irony was, one of my friends, when I was in high school, my mother worked for his family. So I actually knew a boy that she was loving and taking care of and taking him places and doing things that she was not doing for me. That was a very, very painful knowledge. I wanted my mother, of course. I mean, what healthy kid doesn't? But I knew she was going to work. But when she went to work, she gave love and time to another person. And it took quite a while for not just me, but my sisters and all of us. We were discussing this loss, this lack, what parents do. She was doing the best she could. I know she thought she was doing the best she could, but it was disastrous. So I had this, eventually I was the walking wounded. I was very, very pained, not understanding why I felt the sense of loss. I didn't trust. In life, you must trust, because I was suspicious that people whom I would love and care for would disappear. And my father had disappeared, and my great grandmother had disappeared. My granddaddy had died. Issue of trust took me a long time to work that out. And Fred was a big help because he was one of the ones who suggested I go into therapy. He wasn't the only one. I was so sick. And then, of course, when I was going through puberty, I realized that I was gay, that I am not heterosexual. I do not want to date girls and women and chase the girls and do what a lot of heterosexual boys do. So I realized that my family disapproved of that. There was no room for a gay boy. They had said a lot of things like sissy and somebody is Nelly. The connotation was profoundly negative. And I knew it. I wasn't stupid. So I knew. And also I had mentioned that I had a cousin named Johnny May who wore a beautiful wedding dress when I was pretty young. And I mentioned there among the family that I wanted to grow up and wear a dress just like Johnny May. And my mother slapped me. It was a profoundly negative thing to do to a kid, a young kid, expressing what I consider beautiful. My cousin, to me, like, she was the most beautiful woman in the whole world. And I was not allowed to admire her or want to be like her. And I didn't understand why. And so that pain and the things that my mother said after that helped me to realize that there was no room for homosexuality in our family. So where was I supposed to go? What was I supposed to do?
Okay.
And it was not an easy, I can't tell you how painful it was trying to erase that in my nature, in my experience, in my expression, trying to be straight. A nightmare. Now, is that your question? You're asking me what my grandparents and great-grandparents gave to me, and it came down to the fact that I grew up knowing that they loved me, but they loved me straight. They didn't love me gay.